every human being is a walking, speaking temple of God. We can build temples with concrete and stone, but this is a living temple.
And then what is consciousness? We're going to go right into it. Come on, I have a guru from the Himalayas in my studio. What am I going to ask?
I'm not a guru from it.
There must be some meaning to life.
Yes.
And let's start the journey
Let's
to explore
start the
that.
journey. Let's explore.
Maybe there's a podcast out there that can help people start that journey.
Yeah, you should be doing something.
I should.
I'm saying
really
you should.
I am. That's what this is, you silly Willy. Goodness gracious. Hey there, it's me, Rain Wilson, and I want to dig into the human experience. I want to have conversations about a spiritual revolution. Let's get deep with our favorite thinkers, friends, and entertainers about life, meaning, and idiocy. Welcome to the Soul Boom Podcast. I'll call you sir, but I know you...
No, just call me M, please.
Just M.
M.
Okay.
M, capital M.
M sounds like a code name from James Bond. Do you ever see a James Bond movie?
I know.
Yeah.
Long ago, yes. But then here M means something else. When my master, Maheshwarnath Babaji, who was from the Nath Panth, we call it the Nath Sampradaya. When he initiated me, he called me Madhukarnath, which is a Sanskrit name.
Mm-hmm.
And the first letter of Madhukarnath is M.
Mm-hmm.
The first letter of the name I was born with was M.
Mm-hmm. Mumtaz.
Ali, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Plus M is the first letter of the word Manushya in Sanskrit, which means a human being.
Oh, wow.
Or in Hindi, Manav, human being.
Yeah.
So I love it. So, but then some people they added a Shri to it, which means Mr. Yeah,
Okay.
Actually.
Mr. M.
A little more respectful, Mr.
Right.
Shri M.
Sir
So
M.
it became Shri M. But
Yeah.
I like it if people call me M. It's nice.
M could be like James Bond's spiritual teacher. He's got Q and...
In the end, I think M turned out to be a lady.
Yes, that's true. That's true. There is an actual M. What is consciousness? We're going to go right into it.
Consciousness is something which nobody till date has been able to define. But I can say this, that consciousness is not confined to the brain. From my understanding and from what I have learned, consciousness is an all-pervading reality which works through different centers, like the human mind and maybe advanced beings through their mind. So I would think, let me put it this way. The brain is an excellent computer, beautiful computer.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most advanced ones. I don't know what happens when artificial intelligence comes, but right now.
The brain is a beautiful computer is a great sentence, by the way.
Right. Now. Now. And the operator is the consciousness.
Ah.
You see, we can have the most advanced computer, but somebody has to operate it.
Right.
This operator is the consciousness. And now consciousness, therefore, is not confined to the brain, although it works very well when the brain is very good. Let me put it this way. Now you have a tree, right? A tree has no brain anywhere.
Okay.
Every cell is kind of intelligent by itself. Does photosynthesis. There is no brain which says do photosynthesis. It's built in.
Right.
Right. Where there is no water, the roots go far.
Right.
Search for. Where is the brain in the tree? Nowhere. Where there is sunshine, the branches grow out to get the sun. So there is intelligence, there is consciousness in the tree, but it is not confined to a brain system. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So in the same way, it is there not only in the tree, in the whole of nature there is consciousness. The birds, everywhere. But we have one advantage, is that we can recognize it and be aware, which probably the tree does not. We, human beings, have the one unique capacity of being aware of it.
Being aware that they have consciousness.
That there is consciousness.
That there is consciousness, yeah. And do we become aware of that through thought or through meditation?
Through meditation, first the mind has to be stilled.
Okay.
When the mind is still, then something else takes over, which you cannot call actually brain thought.
Mm.
People call it
Presence.
intuition, presence,
Essence.
essence.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's necessary through meditation to bring the mind to that state where it can at least recognize that there is something beyond it.
Mm.
And that can happen only when the mind can be brought to tranquil, peaceful, quiet wavelengths.
Mm. Mm.
So therefore, all the practices of yoga of all kinds are meant to bring this about.
Mm.
Not to catch, you cannot catch consciousness. Consciousness, according to the Upanishads and according to what we know, is that which can neither be heard, nor smelt, nor tasted, nor seen.
Mm. Mm.
So none of these things are going to be of any help. But without that, none of these things can work. Like, I used to know a very simple soul in Kerala when I was growing up. He used to say that the proof of consciousness need not be demonstrated in any way other than how the eye sees the world. He said, the eye, I can see you because I have eyes, but I can't see my own eyes. I can see a reflection in a mirror, but I cannot turn around and see my eyes. So how do I know the eyes exist? Because I can see the world. Somewhat you can, this is a metaphor which could connect to brain and consciousness.
Mm. Mm.
Consciousness sees everything, but it cannot see itself. So to say that I have to find it's there.
You just know that it's there.
Yeah.
But you spoke about spiritual lessons being learned through experience, experiential, and not just out of book study.
Mm-hmm.
And so a kind of an awareness of consciousness, of essence, is something to be felt and experienced through a process, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I fully believe in that. There is a process. But the process is finally meant to free you from all conditioning and processes.
Mm.
And ultimately, let me put it this way. The mind is now, let's say, in a state of flux, like clay. Suppose you have clay, the potter's clay. Yeah. So it has no shape, no nothing.
Mm.
But then you want to make it into a certain image. So you put it into a mold, press it in. This is the discipline and the meditation process. Then you put two halves together of the mold and the image is ready. Now, if you need to see the image, wouldn't one want to break the mold? Otherwise, it's still inside. You can't see it.
Okay. Right. Yes.
Yeah. So the whole process of the molding is the meditation, the training and everything. And finally, you break off the mold and you don't know what to say.
Okay.
I know that it's interesting that if you go back to the Judeo-Christian traditions, there is a story of how Moses went up the mountain and he saw a light behind the bush.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The burning bush,
The
some would
burning
call
bush,
it.
they
But yes,
call it.
okay.
Yeah, something. He saw a light like a fire. And then he goes there up the hill. And there is a voice that says, take off your shoes for you're entering holy ground. Okay, so he takes off his shoes. And then he enters. And then he asks finally, who are you? And it's very interesting that the statement that you get from this, from the Bible, from the Old Testament, is Ahiye Ashar Ahiye, which in Hebrew means I am that I am. There's no definition out there.
I am that I am.
I am that I am. Ahiye Ashar Ahiye. This is what it says. So this is what it is. There is no way to define this stuff. All definitions fall short.
Please.
The Upanishad says, which is perhaps the earliest text that we have.
Yes, the Upanishads. Yes.
Yad vachana abhyutitam, that which words cannot describe. This is what Supreme Truth is all about. But then to understand that, you have to read it in words, right? The Upanishad says so. It's words.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it says, but it is beyond words.
That is, you're reading words that says it is beyond words. But we're going right into the meaty stuff, but is consciousness different than the soul? Or is it the same? Are they two sides of the same coin?
I would say this is a better description. Two sides of the same coin. You cannot think of the soul without consciousness, but consciousness can think without the soul. Because there can be consciousness without even an entity called the soul. Because it is look, the Upanishad, which I always go back to, Isha Vashyamidam Sarvam, that supreme reality pervades everything here. Now, if it pervades everything here, it pervades the body, the soul, the mind, everything. Now, the soul is the subtlest part of this element which can touch the
what part of the element?
Subtlest. The subtle. The
Subtlest. Yes.
Subtlest element in this whole universe that can perhaps connect to the consciousness. When you say soul, then there is an idea, there is an ego out there. I mean, not ego in the bad sense of the term. Ego simply means I. There is an I there.
Okay.
Now this I is a very, we call it sattvic, or very pure, very clean, very tranquil I, the essence. Now this essence is alive, or its existence depends on the all-pervading consciousness. Let's put it this way. In another context, one can say the consciousness is the father and the soul is the son. I mean,
wow,
not biologically.
I would have thought it the other way around, that the soul is the father and the consciousness is the son.
No, the from my understanding, the consciousness is all-pervading, which can produce many souls. And then the souls finally merge back into that consciousness which is beyond.
So our consciousness is connected to a universal consciousness.
Absolutely.
And is that the same as God? Is that God consciousness?
And now,
this is the meaning of life. We're going right to the center of meaning of life. I mean, come on, I have a guru from the Himalayas in my studio. What am I going to ask?
I'm not a guru from the
Well, I'm not going to ask you how to make a grilled cheese sandwich.
Which I don't know anyway. So,
is God a universal consciousness, like the amalgam of all the consciousness?
Absolutely, you're right. But the problem is, the moment you use the word God, it acquires so many meanings which has come down to us. This is where the problem. It's not, you're right, God is the eternal supreme consciousness, universal. But when you say God, people have defined God in so many ways. This is where we get into trouble. Yeah, somebody, this is my God. This is your God. I'm saying there's one. But then perhaps it was interpreted in different ways by different people at different times to suit humanity and the geographical locality of where these truths were taught. Perhaps. But it cannot be different. It has to be the one. Let's take Islam, for instance. Now, in Islam, also it is supposed to be a revelation. Muhammad, the prophet, did not know how to read or write. He was illiterate. And yet, something happened to him and he wrote this text, which you agree with it, you don't agree with it, that's a different story. He brought out this text. Later it was written down. He chanted and others learned. He brought out a text which is still the challenge stands. Nobody has been able to write such perfect Arabic. So what happened? How did it come from? Well, then what happens is, depending upon where it was, and then later when imperialistic ideas come into religion, then it gets diluted. I think in the beginning, the essence was the same.
Religions start pure.
Very pure.
And sometimes can get easily off track as they're corrupted by human impulses.
Exactly. Now, I have to say something. I wanted to put it to you in a little different way. Go to all the universal religions, all. of course, as far as the Hindu system of thought is concerned, it's not even a religion, it's a system of thought.
Okay.
Now, there were many teachers and so on, many rishis, many teachers. But look at the other religions, let's say, who have one teacher, one book, one. All of them started with the mystic experience of one individual. One individual had a mystical experience, and the whole thing started from there. But then, when it became formalized, and then it got connected with, imperialistic designs and expanding your territory, it becomes more and more suited to that purpose.
Right.
This is where it becomes diluted. Otherwise, I think the original spiritual experience has to be the same.
In my tradition, in the Baha'i faith, it said that the core of of religion is the mystic experience that unites man with God.
Yeah, but then what happens afterwards? You've heard of Jiddu Krishnamurti, right? I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I spent some time with him also.
You know Krishnamurti?
Of course, later part of my life. So, of his life, sorry. He said something very interesting once, which suits this discussion that we are having. He said the devil and his friend went for a walk. Okay? Then the devil suddenly bent down and picked up something from the grass, from the lawn, and put it in his pocket. So his friend said, "Hey, what did you pick up just now?" Devil said, "I just picked up the truth." So his friend said, "Then your days are numbered because you are the opposite of truth, your darkness, your untruth. And if you put the truth into your pocket, which means your days are numbered, you're going to go." And the devil tapped him on his shoulder and said, "Don't worry, friend, I'll organize it." This is where the problem comes.
What happened then? You spent 3.5 years with your guru. Did he say, "Go teach what I've taught you now, go down to the city, start a school"? What instruction did he give you?
Well, he said, "Go back now," 3.5 years afterwards, he said, "Go back now. One, your mother is very sick. Go and see her. Two, go and eventually get married." We're talking all this here. We are talking of spiritual things and so on. But normal human being who lives a family life, who works for his living, cannot understand what's happening to us yogis sitting in the Himalayas. Go down, which means be like them, get married, have a family, work for a living, right?
So he was not a believer in staying up in the caves or in a monastery.
Well, he said, "You don't have to do that."
Okay.
He said, "I want you to go out and teach, not now." He said, "I will give you a green signal. You're not ready to teach. So go back. After a while, if you find somebody good, get married, someone who can, live with a person like you. And then you work for a living. Don't use religion for a living. Work for a living."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What did you do for a job?
Well, I was a journalist. I did some construction with my dad. He was a construction man,
Yeah.
a contractor.
And how did you find a wife?
Well, that is interesting. I found her in the Rishi Valley School, which is a Krishnamurti Foundation school.
Okay.
And she was teaching English literature. She's a Brahmin girl. She's from the Saraswat Brahmin group from
Yeah.
the
And
south.
her family was okay with her marrying a Muslim kid who'd spent some time in a cave?
That was a big story. Her parents were not very happy. Her father was okay with it. He was in the army. He was a colonel in the Indian army. So, he was, but the mother and they were not so happy. So her uncle used to be also a medical doctor who retired from the army and stayed in the Shivananda ashram. So they said, in Rishikesh, they said that we have to ask the eldest person in the family, and if he approves, we can do it. Otherwise, it's not possible. I thought they were trying to, kind of give it out. So I had to write to Swami Chidananda, who was the head, saying that this doctor who is in charge of your hospital might come and say this, that there's an unfortunate thing has happened, my niece. So when the person he is referring to is me. So you can do what you want. So when he went and complained to him, Swami Chidananda told him, you're very lucky to have this boy in your So it was settled. They wanted a Hindu marriage, so we got it done. My parents didn't attend.
They didn't, because you had a Hindu marriage.
Yeah. We had a Hindu marriage going around the fire. Yeah, and so on. So they didn't attend, but they were okay afterwards. My parents thought that it was only I got married that my wife influenced me to become normal. I mean, earn a living, make a house, look up.
You're right.
I was never like that. I was just earning money and spending it and being like free.
Wandering around, a free spirit, a spiritual seeker.
So they thought she's the one.
But your wife was like,
it's not
get
true.
A job, Em. Come on.
Not true, really, but they thought so.
They thought so. Okay, great. But this is fascinating that as a spiritual teacher, you are not in some ashram separated from the world. You had a wife and children and a family, and you were in the world and of the world and learning about the world. Because it's easier to be spiritual sitting in a tree.
True. Not easy. That's also difficult. But, in the present circumstances, we need to go out and tell people that you can live in this world, and at the same time you can look into the inquiry of spiritual matters. You don't have to run away. Where will you run away anyway?
Yeah. Summertime, sunshine and soul boom, the perfect combination to feel your best. And that is why I am using Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for clean eating. They've got fresh organic produce, responsibly sourced proteins, and now new heat and eat meals ready in just 3 minutes. I mean, that's less time than it takes for me to realize that my glasses have been on my head this whole time. With over 80 weekly recipes, Mediterranean, gluten-free, plant-based, protein-packed, you can eat like a 6-pack king. I had their Mediterranean chicken last week, and it left me feeling fulfilled, slim, and in shape. I love eating Green Chef, and you will too. Make this summer your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50soulboom and use code 50soulboom to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50soulboom at greenchef.com/50soulboom. Yummy. Hey, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our spiritual partners at the Fetzer Institute. They have just launched a brand new shiny website over at fetzer.org. That's FETZER.org. And it's full of spiritual tools for modern struggles, which is exactly what we're trying to cultivate here at Soul Boom. Fetzer believes that most of humanity's problems are spiritual at the root, and they're helping people plant some deeply soulful solutions. So I urge you to go poke around their new website, check out Fetzer.org. Thank you, Fetzer Institute, for helping sponsor the show and all of the truly amazing work that you do over there. Fetzer.org, that's FETZER.org. Well, this is what Soul Boom is all about, is how can we live our lives? There's people listening, watching that are working at a Starbucks or at an insurance company, or they're school teachers and they're interested in a spiritual journey and a spiritual quest. And
what do we do?
So what advice would you give to people out there that are, working in a Starbucks or a Walmart or a school or a construction company somewhere and are seeking to bring spiritual insight and a journey into a very difficult life where they have to pay rent and raise a family and deal with crazy family members and with our current political environment?
Yes.
What would you say to these folks?
I would say that these are the people who need you. If you have some spiritual experience and if you have lived in this world and worked also, then these are the people who need you. And don't go and preach to them something that they cannot digest. Go at it quietly. Like, give them first the principles of life, like your honest, hard work, okay? Try and stick to the truth as much as you can. Try to be kind to others. it starts that way.
Mm.
And then they begin to reflect and figure out that there must be something in us which is beyond all this. But you can't suddenly go there and tell them, look, you have to be spiritual. You leave everything. This world is not yours. Somebody is waiting. It doesn't work that way.
Mm.
Even if you know it, you're not going to say that because that's not the way. So I meet people. Look, when I come here, I have a shirt, pants. I was just there in Prayagraj for the Kumbh Mela. Jeff had come to visit me. Ask him, I was like a Swami. But here, you can't wear that, and I don't want to.
You don't dress like a Swami when you're driving around Southern California?
No.
Okay.
Because if I go to Starbucks and somebody opens a conversation, if I was wearing nobody will open a conversation but me.
Mm-hmm.
I sit down, we talk, and then they say, oh, so what do you do? And then it begins.
What would you say to someone in Starbucks who says, what do you do? Tell me about yourself.
I say, like all of you, I work for a living, but I have a spiritual quest which is deeper than that.
Mm.
Well, I would almost maybe quote, lay treasures in your heart where thieves do not break in and steal, but they would think I'm a Bible preacher or somebody.
Right. I know in many of your teachings, you talk about how spirituality is inseparable from service.
Yes.
And service to others. I love that. And this is so close to the Soul Boom ethos.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I wrote about in my book was this idea of a twofold moral purpose, which is, on one hand, we are transforming ourselves. We're seeking to become wiser, deeper, kinder, more compassionate. And it's more of an internal journey.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we are also seeking to make the world a better place and be of service to others, to reduce the suffering of others. And it's a yin and a yang. It's always one feeds the other. You do one so that you can do the other better, and you do the other so that it feeds the one. How does this come to life in your work?
I totally agree with you.
Oh, wonderful.
100%. There is no way out. You cannot say that I am a spiritual person and don't do service to others. It's not possible. See, look, if I see inside me a light, it cannot be that I am peculiar, that only I have the light. The light is in everybody's heart. Okay, it may be covered, it may be hiding, but it's there, a spark is there. So when you serve somebody, you're actually serving God. You're serving the spark in the person's heart. Every human being is a walking, speaking temple of God. We can build temples with concrete and stone, but this is a living temple. If you don't do service here, that service is different in the church or in the temple, ringing the bell. But this is real service. I think this kind of service, on one hand, helps the others who are getting served. And to you, it's actually a spiritual journey. It deepens your spiritual journey. So I think they have to go hand in hand. I don't agree with people who say we are very spiritual, we don't want to do anything to anybody. So how spiritual are you if it's not flowing out of your heart that you have sympathy for somebody and that you want to bring the person up?